Hello, and welcome to another installment of DeKalb Talks Tourism. Today we have Mayor Joseph Geierman from Doraville.
Geierman.
And I even know that. Why did I say Geierman? Mayor Geierman, sorry about that. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Tell us a little about yourself. How did you get into politics? What made you interested in being an elected official?
Well, I've thought about that a lot because, in signing up to run for re-election, I was making a commitment to at least 10 years in public service. It really stemmed from just my involvement in my community overall. I really wanted to... I've always felt like if you feel like there's things that need to be done and no one else is willing to step up and you're not willing to step up, then you're part of the problem. And so I had, been involved in my neighborhood group. I had volunteered for the city in different capacities. An opportunity came up to run for city council. I really didn't want to. I was trying to get other people to do it, and there was no one who I felt would do the job that we needed who was willing to run. So I ran for city council in 2017, and then I think Doraville is a place with a lot of opportunity and a lot of potential. But I didn't feel like we were meeting the potential while I was on council, and I felt like we really needed someone to help us set an agenda and be targeted in how we moved that direction. So I made a fairly difficult decision to run for mayor, and thankfully the people of Doraville agreed with my vision and elected me. I just completed my first term and was reelected to a second. So, it's kind of funny how you end up here. I certainly didn't have any political aspirations and wasn't, this wasn't necessarily a lifelong goal, but certainly my goal is promoting my community as well as improving it. And I've feel like I've been able to have an impact by moving into this position over the last few years.
Well, congratulations on your win. And one thing, correct me if I'm wrong, Doraville, you can actually stay mayor as long as you get reelected. Is that correct?
That is correct, but I am not committing to to running in perpetuity. I mean, I think that one of my goals is to develop people, other people in public office who will be a good bench so that, we have people who can run for council, people who can run for mayor. This is, has been a lifelong position for a lot of people. I don't particularly believe in term limits because I do think that communities should be able to have the best person run if, and whoever that is, you might have a small pool of candidates, but at the same time, I don't particularly want to do this job forever. So my goal is to develop, we have a great council, develop people who can come into this role and do it. So then I can move on and do other things because I have a full-time job. This is, it is challenging to, take my lunch break and come do a podcast or, whatever, plus have other city obligations pop up while I'm also trying to do my day job. So, it's a commitment that I enjoy, but I will, be happy to turn it over when the time comes too.
Well, you kind of jumped into, you somewhat already started talking about day in the life of being the mayor. So you probably have early morning meetings, late meetings, you have council meetings, you have probably pre-council meetings.
Well, yeah. So Doraville, up until I think about 2011, had a strong mayor form of government, which meant the mayor was sort of the CEO of the city, hired and fired people, and was responsible for all the day-to-day administration. Back in 2011, we might have been 2012, but we had a vote and decided to go to a city manager form of government, which is what most of the other municipalities, except for Atlanta, in DeKalb County, have, which means we, as an elected body, hire a city manager who does all the day-to-day administration, and mayor turns into a part-time job. The primary thing that we're responsible for is the 2 council meetings per month, which 2 Wednesdays a month starting this year. And those meetings could go from as little as an hour to as much as 3+ hours.
Right.
Just depends on what's on the agenda. But I'm also responsible for setting that agenda as the kind of elected head or leader of the city. There's also other ways that I need to serve. Whether it's representing the city on a podcast, whether it's representing the city on our DeKalb Municipal Association Policy Committee, right. Whether it's attending GMA events, working with other mayors on issues as they come up, working with our county commissioners, to help get things done. So even as a part-time job, there's a lot that, fills up pretty much all of my extra available time that I used to have. And, it is a full-time, part-time job, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, I think anybody I've talked to it's theoretically part-time, but not.
Yeah. And so, I felt, when I ran for this position, I felt strongly that having people who work is not a bad thing. And honestly, I still believe that, because I think that, I'm out in the real world, interacting with people in my professional life. And, that's a place to get ideas and to really understand things, rather than, kind of just being in this municipal government role. But, with that, there are challenges too. And finding that balance has been one of my challenges.
Well, I think one of the big things I would assume is huge for you is just a couple months ago, we were at the Black Tie Gala opening of Assembly Film Studios. That's got to be a big coup and it's one of the biggest economic development projects in all of Metro Atlanta. I mean, film, as we already know, is huge, and to have NBC Universal Studios there, great TV, of course. Talk about that some.
Yeah, well, so I'll go back in time before I considered public life at all. But in 2008, the GM plant closed. I think actually that first started being discussed in 2005 or 2006. So I moved to Doraville in 2001. So for a big chunk of the time that I lived there, we'd either been discussing the closure of the GM plant, or, since 2008 to till Gray purchased it in 2021, really the dealing with the fact that we had this huge empty hole in the middle of our city. And candidly, that was something that, a lot of people were kind of struck them. It's like, why don't we see anything happening there? And the community had come together and really developed this livable community initiative with the Atlanta Regional Commission that kind of envisioned a live, work, play zone. Our community had gone through a process to really vision what could this space look like, but nothing had really happened. The previous owners had been able to demolish the former factory. Serta Simmons had been their new headquarters had been built out, but it looked like a rocky road ahead just from COVID had hit. We weren't seeing a whole lot of development. And then I came into office, and we were kind of wondering how to handle that. Actually, the summer of 2020, I got a call from Jay Gibson wanting to meet. He's head of the Gibson company that was the development partner for Assembly, or became the development partner for Assembly with Gray Television, and he laid out the plans that they and Gray had, and it seemed like exactly what we had been visioning. Having a major job center in that site, a development that could catalyze all the other types of activities that we wanted, and candidly, a group that had the funds to be able to build what they were visioning. So it is amazing to me how quickly it came together, and the fact that
Yes.
They were really able to get what they wanted done, within 3 very short years. Being over there, it really is amazing, because I was looking at pictures that my husband and I had taken in 2021 of the site, and it was just flat brownfield. And so to be there and see the the brownstone facades of the film studios, is just amazing. To see our new public park, the rail trail over there, it really has come together, and I think that it's only a matter of time before the rest of the site gets developed.
Yeah, the plans for the rest of the site is just going to be amazing. And then we actually did our end of the year board meeting up at the Jewel Box. And that's an amazing facility. And you look down at Assembly, and that was very cool. And you can just envision what the rest of it's going to be like, So that's exciting, with all the film coming in, like I said, with the home offices being there, with the amount of businesses that's going to bring. That's just an unbelievable opportunity. And as mayor, and that's great that you can be there and just take advantage of all that, and have it be an icon for the city of Doraville.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, again, yeah, looking at Doraville's history, we were 150 years in 2021, and so a huge part of the city's growth really came after 1948, when the GM plant was built, and the city developed around that plant. So it's meaningful for us to have something that's an active job center being at that site again, and a site that can be a catalyst for development in the 21st century as well. And I'm excited about what's happening there. I think that, it opens up a lot of opportunity and challenges for us, because even as we have this new development, we want to make sure that we protect what makes Doraville special. And, we've got a legacy of having immigrant entrepreneurs along Buford Highway. I don't want to see that legacy lost or diminished at all. And, so it's really a matter of balancing the growth that we can see with this site, but still trying to keep what makes us a unique place within Metro Atlanta.
Well, that's perfect to dive right into, because Buford Highway is our international corridor for food and culture. And it's such an asset for DeKalb County, and it runs through 3 cities just in DeKalb. Of course, it continues on into Gwinnett with kind of its cultural and international dining. But Doraville's got the biggest chunk, I believe, for the actual corridor, and it's just a great asset. And it's one of the favorite places that what's that culinary guy that used to come here all the time? He passed, Anthony Bourdain. It was one of his favorite places to come and write about. So any plans for that?
Well, I like I said, we're not planning to do anything to change what makes it special. Actually, the Michelin Guide came to Atlanta, as I'm sure you're aware, last year, and Doraville has 4 Michelin rated restaurants or recommended restaurants that they don't have a Michelin star, but they're recommended by the Michelin Guide. And we are familiar with all of them. Lanzhou is one of my favorite restaurants. That's his snack box bistro. And we'd gone to all of the restaurants that were recommended by the Michelin Guide, and I think that is going to bring more people to the city. I know we've been working with Discover DeKalb on ways to create other ways to help people discover all of the different culinary experiences along the Beaufort Highway corridor, maybe beyond just Doraville and encompassing Chambly as well. I don't know the nitty gritty details of where that is, but I think that's an exciting project as well. So, for me, it's just a matter of making sure that people are aware of everything that you can really find along Beaufort Highway. And, I think that the message is out there, because when I tell people that I'm from Doraville, I instantly hear they may not even know I'm the mayor, but hear about like what they love about Doraville, the restaurants they love, the Beaufort Highway Farmers Market that they love. So I think people know what's here. I just want to make sure that we continue to get the message out and, do what we can to help the businesses along the corridor.
Well, this is a great time. We're actually going to be expanding the podcast into a culinary podcast. So we're going to jump on, and I'm going to have a co-host that is a Georgia State hospitality professor who actually is the culinary entrepreneur and a certified wine sommelier who's going to co-host the show. Wow. And we're going to jump on trying to get those Michelins and the Bib Gourmands and the mentions, as well as all restaurants. But we're going to take advantage of really the Michelin Guide coming out and start attracting those restaurants to be on the show or go to them and actually film the show and be able to see the chef and things like that. So we're going to be jumping on that to really try to showcase the culinary in DeKalb in general, and then the international culinary along Beaufort Highway. And then we're going to even be branching out into doing it like we have an Hispanic who is going to do it in Spanish with a Mexican restaurant. And we're going to dive into other cultures in their language and have it in English. So we're excited about that too.
Well, that's great. We've got a lot of options for you to tour, so you could stay busy all year long in Doraville if you wanted to.
One of the other great assets is you have the culinary, you have the international culture. We've already talked about assembly with film, but another big history that people may not know about is your actual music recording history. So you have the Atlanta Rhythm section. I just found out recently that the first album, Freebird, from Leonard Skinner was in Doraville. So you want to talk about some of your music heritage?
Well, Studio One was a recording studio that was in Doraville, throughout the 70s. I think they might have even gone into the 80s, but a lot of, the big one that I always hear is Atlanta Rhythm section, because they did a song that was actually called Doraville. But like you said, Leonard Skinner had also recorded here, and a lot of other bands. There is a movement, kind of a grassroots movement happening within the city to try to develop a monument to really commemorate that. And, that's part of the broader push that we've had to really start promoting public art in the city.
Okay.
And, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do have some sort of monument recognizing Studio One at some point. The studio itself was in sort of more of a office warehouse park area. So, I don't know if a monument would go there or, in a more publicly viewable area. Hopefully it would be more visible to a lot of people. But I would say that Doraville, because of its location and relative historic affordability anyway, is home to a lot of artists of, visual, music, other forms, and we have a lot of people who are really passionate about the arts and promoting them. So we have a new relatively new group called Doraville Art that formed in the late 2010s, and the city has actually worked out a deal with them to give them space to have an art center. We actually just passed a bond referendum that will keep that center even as we redevelop our downtown area. We also have been nurturing a theater group called Merely Players Presents that they currently have productions in our civic center, and they built out a great space to watch shows there. They have a great lineup of shows all year long. So, and they do other things like improv and comedy and other things. So, definitely worth anyone, in DeKalb County or outside DeKalb County to come check it out. We've also been promoting, other types of art. We had our first mural go in Pine Tree Plaza, which is where Chicago Supermarket is located, just a couple of years ago. And we've just put a new mural in Halpern Park, kind of celebrating our city's diversity, and we're looking for other opportunities too. And there's a lot of opportunity, despite the fact that we have so many artists in the city. Up until I was elected, we didn't allow public art anywhere in the city, and have really worked hard to try to turn that around and promote it, because we do feel like it's another thing that helps people feel pride in where they live, as well as hopefully attracting people from other places to drive through and say, hey, I want to stop and check out this piece of art. So it's I think it's an exciting time to be here. And the Studio One story is one part from our past, but what's happening today with the arts is equally exciting to me.
Well, nice. You've talked about the entertainment side, the music side with Studio One. You've talked about the new art and the new public art. We've talked about the film studios that actually, once it's up and running, will be open for tours. And then another component that fits well, because you mentioned the monument for the Studio One, you're all involved in a county-wide effort. We're involved for a film trail. So it's pretty exciting that you're talking about a monument to Studio One, and then we'll have different signage for films that have been made in and around Doraville, in and around all of DeKalb County. So that's a pretty exciting initiative that's been running only maybe 2 months. And we're working on actually a logo for the film trail. So that's going to be a nice addition at the same time when you're doing all these other pieces.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. It'll be really interesting to follow the trail all over the county, right?
Yeah. And we're trying to make it more interactive with a QR code or something, so you can just pop it up and be able to learn more information and learn another place to go.
That's awesome.
So there's just so many exciting things going on in Doraville and the surrounding area of DeKalb that it's a great time to be here, great time to be mayor, I'm sure. And I think a third term is easily into your future. Got too many things to see.
Well, we'll see how the first one goes. We're just getting started on how the second term goes. We're just getting started on it. So, I'm looking forward to everything that is coming up, and I'm, pleased with where we are right now.
So, what's some of your funniest memories being mayor? We love stories on this show.
So this is not really a story about being mayor, but it's a story about getting into public office.
Okay.
So, when I was deciding to run, or trying to get people to run, and I was talking to my husband about it, it's kind of the last night before qualifying, and kind of expressing to him how disappointed I was with the quality of the candidates that we were getting and the people that we had really been pushing for not stepping up. And he said, well, if no one decides to run, we get what we deserve, right? And so I said, well, I'm glad you said that, because I'm thinking about qualifying, and I did on the last day of qualification, and did a sprint to join the city council. So I think that life has lots of left turns, and you don't always know exactly where you're going to appear, but you expect anything. And honestly, if you put your mind to something, I think anyone can accomplish a lot, like just by really focusing on it and wanting to do a good job.
So is he? What's his feelings now that you're mayor, second term?
The other funny thing I'll say is that anyone who steps into a position like this gets people who are going to be negative about something or disagree with something. That's part of the job. It typically rolls off my back, but he will be a much stronger defender of me typically, and take it a lot more personally. So I think he is, he's probably more excited for me being mayor and more passionate about, any of the challenges that I faced than I am. I try to be a little more stoic about it, but he is probably my biggest supporter. So I'm lucky to have
That's
him.
great.
Yeah.
You need that, especially being in the public office.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There was one time when he got into an argument with someone on Nextdoor, and I told him, don't do that anymore, please. But, that was, what it is. And, people have a right to say whatever they feel. So,
Well, we still got a couple minutes. I was thinking about another big project you have going on, because we have been to the table talking about the project right across the street from the International Farmers Market and the old Kmart site.
Mm-hmm. So Resia Apartments, I believe it should be getting started on building a fairly big multifamily development. I'm not sure if it's 600 or 800 units, but that one's pretty big.
Like that. I remember that, and it's a high rise.
Yeah, you'll be able to see it from 285, which, considering how low that is, that's going to be a big building. There's actually another development just inside 285 by a company called Rangewater, which, also will be multifamily. And truth is, Doraville has a great location. We're right on Buford Highway, right on 285, right off 85. We're close to MARTA. We have a MARTA station in the city. We're close to Peachtree DeKalb Airport. So, just if you think of, we're close to Peachtree Boulevard.
Right.
So you think of all the different ways that we're connected throughout the city. You can see why people want to be here. I think the other big project that we haven't really touched on is our plan to redevelop our downtown, which the city owns 13 acres of land directly across from the MARTA station, kind of on the other side of the railroad tracks from Assembly. We have partnered with Kaufman Capital Partners, who own another 10 acres of real estate kind of directly adjacent to our properties. And we're in the we're kind of in the development phase right now of just identifying, okay, how can we structure this in a way that that makes sense from a operational and a financial perspective. But we're going to see some movement on that this year, I believe. And to me, that's exciting because that's one of the things that really I've wanted to accomplish, and one of my goals for coming into public office, because we currently have a downtown that it's got our city center functions, our police station, our library, our city hall, our courthouse, but they're all little buildings with big parking lots around them. It's not very easy to get to. You have to have a car. My goal would be for us to have a really walkable, true city center where people can walk around, that's more connected to Beaufort Highway, that's more connected to New Peachtree Road, that is more easily accessible to all the other parts of the city. And, it's a way to reconnect our city in a way that, maybe people weren't thinking about when they were first, developing it, because we lost our downtown when MARTA came, and, what was left was the city center functions that we have today. But I think we have a huge opportunity here, and it's exciting to see the visions as they start to come to life. So I'm excited about what we've done, what's been done at Assembly, but maybe even a little more excited about the city center, just because I think that's closer to the day-to-day life of the residents in our city, and I think it will have a huge impact on Doraville, going forward as we do get it developed.
It's got to be exciting because you have the downtown, as you said, but you're basically building a new one, and that's got to be more exciting than actually be right there and have your vision and the look and the feel to come out of the ground while you're mayor.
Yeah, I think, my goal for this term is to see that project get off the ground, get moving in the right direction. And I think we're in a good place to do that. I think our council is aligned in this vision, and I think we are ready to start moving forward on it.
Well, to wrap up, one of the things that I was thinking about while we were talking is your big exhibition hub. I mean, to have something of the magnitude of Exhibition Hub off Beaufort Highway, off 285, easy access, and has changing exhibits with 50,000 square feet of space. I mean, right now is Van Gogh and King Tut. We're going to have dinosaurs coming in the future, bubbles coming. But to add to your art theme that you're already working on and the public art that you're working on, having this big immersion center in Doraville's has got to be a great thing for the city as well.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because the guys who opened that reached out to us before they went under contract for the lease, and just to see if we thought it would be a good fit for the city. And I told them, we want you to be here because this is, it was a underutilized building that really, is perfect for what they're trying to do. And B, they've been able to bring people from all over Metro Atlanta to Doraville. Those people are able to then go to local restaurants, spend other money here. I think it really is a win-win situation for everyone. So it was exciting when they came to town. I think all of the exhibits that I've seen there have been amazing. It's been exciting as they've been able to maybe host some other events too. They've done a few things where they've hosted events for city businesses. I know they hosted for Discover DeKalb's holiday party. So it's a really exciting space. I'm thrilled that they're in Doraville, and can't wait to see what they do over the course of this year.
Yeah, I mean, when they bring in the new exhibits, and they're a great community partner because they actually go out and visit restaurants and then recommend them and have it on their sheet to where if you want to know where to go to eat while you're before, after, because you can leave and come back. So they're great community partners. They're involved in the film trail part of the meeting. So it's just a wonderful partnership that you have, that we have with them, and just adds another major tourism component to what we can promote in Doraville.
Yeah, no, they've been great. I'm excited that they're here, and hope they have continued success in 2024.
We're about to wrap up. Any closing stories or any closing thoughts or comments or something you want to just let people know about?
Yeah, well, I just want to thank you for hosting me and inviting me on the podcast. Want to thank anyone who's listened this far. Feel free to reach out if you do have any questions or issues related to the city of Doraville. My email address is Joseph, Joseph, .Geierman, Geierman @DoravilleGA.us. And if you ever are wondering how to say my name, I would just say it's Geierman, which rhymes with fireman. So anyway, thanks again, James. I appreciate you having me on.
Well, thanks, Mayor. We appreciate you being on. And stay tuned to our next podcast.